stop what you're doing and scan this QR code right here on my left, and it'll take you to athletelogos.com/collection/Detroit, where you can get the best Detroit Lions and Detroit Tigers merch right here in the off season, while it's still the dog days of the spring, summer right behind. Stock up on merch, hitting this QR code right here on my left. Take you to athletelogos.com, and don't forget, go Lions.
Welcome back. It's been freaking like a month since we've been doing this, since we've done a show. The off season, after 2 years of just like, we were going hard. The Lions were going hard. We all need a little bit of break, but we are back with some huge news. We haven't even really talked about. Last you saw us, we talked a little bit. We talked about our schedule. We did our schedule predictions. But now we got a lot of news and notes to go over. Thanks for joining in. This is the Honolulu Blues. I'm Nick. That's Adam. That's Julius. Catch our names down low. If you're listening, we appreciate you on Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitter or Spotify, we appreciate that as well. We are presented by Peak. Make sure you check out our barcode over there right under Julius's face, his beautiful mug. Make sure you scan that and check it out. A lot of cool T-shirts over there. We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Some sad, some good, but we're going to talk about the best to start. And when I say the best, I mean the freaking best. Detroit Tigers, as we do, we're going to start our show with these guys. The best team in baseball, boys. And it's been the best team in baseball for about a month and a half. And every week it's like, surely we can't be better than the Dodgers or the Yankees next week. Or surely we can't be better than the Mets or the Cubs next. And every week we still continue to be great on the back of like having Carpenter, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson handling your offense, and then Skubal and the dominating pitching staff, whomever it is we put in, Mize is back, that we have on our pitching. The team is just unbelievable. So, Adam, you're here. You're in Michigan. You're catching most of these games. I know it. Not ever really been the biggest baseball fan, but the Tigers are bringing you in. So how you feeling right now just watching these Tigers on a daily basis?
It's awesome. I still try to watch them as much as I can. I listen to them. Listen to the I know Tigers lost a tough one in Chicago last night. Anyways, but or it was whatever the afternoon game was. But it was
his midday game.
Yeah, it was on when I was driving home, and just decided to listen to the Tigers instead of the podcast or music I always listen to. So it's become a routine thing now. It's like I don't even think about it. Like I don't even think about, oh my God, yes, I'm watching the Tigers again. It's just like I expect them to be good. They're good. I expect some home runs. They deliver on home runs. We just saw Kerry Carpenter hit 3 home runs of the game. That was just incredible. And at one point, bottom of the 6th, Kerry Carpenter had 3 home runs and the White Sox had 2 hits as a team. So that was just like, I was like flabbergasted by that box score when I looked. But ultimately, this team is just so freaking awesome. And I think this team's good enough to be able to beat the Dodgers or the Yankees. So
I agree, Julius.
This will be a good test tonight. The Cubs,
it will be
Skubal, good test.
Yep, Scoob's on the mound tonight for sure. Julius,
definitely a good test after losing to the crosstown bums and the White Sox, losing a series to them. And during the last week, the Tigers are actually bottom 10 in runs and F that. Shout out to Chris Ilitch. Shout out to Sky Harris And shout out to AJ Hinch for turning the Tigers around from worst to first. They were the worst team in baseball literally a year ago today. They were selling off and they just turned this whole thing around. They have the number 7 farm system in baseball, so the future is bright. Reinforcements are on the way. Yeah, Cubbies this weekend. I mean, they could just go ahead and just sweep them off and just, shut everybody up, forget about the White Sox. Honestly, I'm just going to put it out here right now. I think we need to be major buyers at the trade deadline. I think we should be aggressive, trade for a bat and an arm, because our pitching staff seems a little beat up. And I don't want to go with Scooble and a bullpen arms for the rest of the season. And I'm really worried about Torque and Baez. As much as I love their turnarounds, regression. So if that happens, we got to be prepared for it. So let's trade for a bat, trade for an arm. But overall, go Tigers. Best team in baseball, baby.
Best team in baseball. Playing the second best team in baseball today, the Chicago Cubs, as we alluded to. This is going to be a huge homestand for Detroit in Comerica. If you're around, try to get some standing room tickets. We are trying to fill Comerica up as much as we can. The thing about trading at the deadline, I love the idea because that gives you, like, we are the last 3 times the Tigers have been the first team to get to 40 wins. They've made the World Series. So it's like, and we were the first team this year to get 40 wins. Seems like we're destined to kind of almost make October run, and adding reinforcements would be great for this year. But if you have to trade away Kevin McGonigal, who is, in my opinion, the best hitter in all of minor leagues. If you have to trade away Max Clark, who is, in my opinion, the best minor leaguer in all of minor leagues all around. If you have to get rid of some of those guys, I can't do it. But if we're talking about getting rid of lower tier guys, like guys I don't even know the name of, then I'm happy with it. You know what I mean? If we can get rid of future cash considerations, like I hate that guy. So if we can trade that guy away and get someone, I'd be happy. But it's an interesting note you bring up that we'll have to put that on Twitter, Julius, to see what the fans think, if they're on board with, selling or buying at the deadline or just stay put, because we are a young team. We are a very good team, and we might not need any reinforcements, but just let's get a poll right here. We know Julius wants to buy at the deadline. Adam, buy at the deadline or
I want to buy, but if the Tigers don't buy, I'm not gonna be, well, it might be, I don't know if we could still do it. One way or another, I think if we buy, we'll be stepping on throats. And I wanna show the league we mean business. Because right now, I know for a fact, all the MLBs what a good story this is. They won a couple playoff games. But look at the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and the Cubs with all these high payrolls. So one of them is definitely gonna win. But no, big signing. Maybe Bo Bichette would be huge.
Every time I hear the name Bo Bichette, I think of Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Oh my gosh! Right when you said that, it clicked in me.
Boba Fett, dude. Yeah. When I first found out there was a dude named Bo Bichette in the MLB, I was like, "Huh? His name is Boba Shet? You're telling me there's a guy named Boba?
Is he like French Canadian or something?
It sounds like it. What name is
New Orleans, Louisiana?
Yeah. I don't know, from the
Bichette is definitely a French name. Bichette.
Yeah, I feel like
Bichette with my croissant.
It sounds like baguette,
It's my baguette and my Bichette, my beignet.
Oui.
Unless it's Italian, like machete.
Yeah, shoot.
I don't know if that was a good Italian.
Hey, I'm gonna stop veering our show off course here.
Bichetti.
Bichetti.
Oh, yeah, butt scratcher. All right, that is hilarious. All right, let's get to our good topics today. We are talking news and notes. Breaking news. What wasn't so breaking anymore, but was this.
In the 2018 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Frank Ragnow, center, Arkansas.
Our guy, the living legend. 7 seasons is all, but my gosh, were they some terrific 7 seasons. Frank Ragnow. Is it Franklin? Does anyone know? It can't be Franklin. I don't think I've ever heard anyone call him that. Here comes Franklin. That's an old show. Frank Ragnow retires after 7 great seasons, 3 second-team All-Pro seasons, 4 Pro Bowl seasons, the glue of our offensive line. I would say, obviously, Bob Quinn's best draft pick, but probably, can we say the only? Or was Decker a Bob Quinn draft?
Decker was a Bob Quinn too.
Okay, one of 2 good draft picks from Bob Quinn, pretty much. This was tough. It was shocking, I think, to fans. I do not think it was shocking to the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions knew very much earlier, probably after season. A, I think that's why Hank Fraley stuck around. And B, I think that's why we went Tate Ratledge so early when everyone expected the edge rusher. We're always concerned, why? And we'll get to that in a little bit about edge rusher, but just I think that's why we got Tate. And I want to veer this off of Frank. That's just kind of what we've done to help out. Frank Ragnow deserves all the flowers. Frank Ragnow was at one point the only person on the Lions team that seemed like could start on another football team. Every other player on our 53-man, all 52 guys couldn't even make a roster. They're practice squad guys, and yet we had Frank Ragnow. It was like that was our tried and true. That was our guy. He sadly leaves us. We know the amount of injuries he has battled in his career. And we'll talk about what our predictions will be of the offensive line in a minute here. But I just want to be able to, again, give Frank Ragnow his flowers. Let us all have a minute or two to just kind of say what we appreciated about him, basically. I'll leave the floor open to Julius. Frank Ragnow, talk about him, brother.
Shout out to Frank the Tank. Because, I mean, you're right. He was the only guy. I mean, I also want to commend friend of the show, Taylor Decker, who was drafted a couple years before him in 2016. And then Frank Ragnow. That's kind of when our offensive line became decent for Stafford. And we had all those 9-7 seasons with Jim Caldwell and whatnot. But let's not go back in time too much. Frank Ragnow, Midwesterner himself, St. Clair Shores resident, expert fisherman, beer drinker, all man's manly man, Walter Payton Man of the Year finalist, community person, family man, and I'm gonna miss him a lot. And it really tore me when I saw this news. I knew that he's, dealing with a lot, but I thought that he would keep it going for one more run. And now that he's not, there's a lot of uncertainty. So shout out to Frank Ragnow. He's going to be in the Lions Ring of Honor one day. He is going to be, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I doubt it, but if he would have stayed on and took the Lions to a Super Bowl, no doubt. But I hope you're watching, Frank, because I'm calling you out right now, but I'm going to miss you, bro.
I love that. Adam, anything to say about Mr.
Yeah, Frank was Hall of Fame talent, which I think if he would have played, his full, I guess he did play his full career with the Lions, but a long career, like a Jason Kelsey type career, he would have been talked about like Jason Kelsey. And it's going to suck when, it'll be bittersweet when the Lions win the Super Bowl and Frank Ragnow's like, they pan to him, not in the suite, but on like a fishing boat or like hunting down a grizzly bear or something like that. But honestly, Frank was, Nick, you said it perfect. Like at one point, the Lions had nobody. And it was like, well, we got a sweet center. He's pretty good. Like maybe top 3, maybe even the best. And he did turn out being the best.
We got a good center, guys.
Yeah. And that was what us Lions fans had to coast on for a year or two. And then, we got some more talent around him. And I'm happy that, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes could give his career some like juice, because playing 7 years, and honestly, if the Lions were, just terrible the last few years, how they've been, he probably would have retired a couple years ago, and just called it quits. But Frank, I'll never forget watching him absolutely stand up via Vea in the Lions playoff game when Craig Reynolds, for some reason, on the field during a playoff game, I think it was 4th and goal too, punches it in, and it helped the Lions get the victory. And that alone was just like looking back on that, I didn't realize it in the moment because you're at the game, you're so amped up. But like being able to appreciate that and be like, wow, I saw that. That was sick. And Frank, gonna miss him. It's my next question is to you guys. Do the Lions have a new, I guess, pre-30 curse where maybe every decade or two, someone under 30 is going to just call it quits if it's injury, through fed up, just tired, spent out, whatever. But Frank Ragnow, 29, another Detroit Lion that's had to call it quits early, and I don't blame him. Honestly, what I tell everyone is better be a year early than a year late, because if Frank Ragnow goes out this year and tears his ACL or it's something bad, man, that would have just sucked to know that he was contemplating hanging it up, and it'd be a lose-lose for everyone. So, Frank, enjoy all the fishing you can possibly do, and we will miss you.
Julius, you want to answer that question he proposed?
Yeah,
you want to answer it unmuted?
No, I'd rather answer it on mute actually. But
Adam ain't gonna like what I have to say.
no, I actually said on mute. I actually said, Adam, that was a great point that you made. That he kind of joins this eerie kind of club, the under 30 club, to retire with the Lions. Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. He can get added to that list now. I think maybe even the guy before. Yeah, and the guy before Barry, what was his name? Sims?
Billy?
Yep, he had injury problems. I think he retired before 30. So that's a great point, Adam. However, in the spirit of, I don't know what you're talking about, these same old Lions. I only know the brand new Lions. So I'm not even going to answer it. I'm not even going to answer. I'm going to answer on mute, actually.
Oh, dude, I feel like Tony Kornheiser, dude. I should have muted you, bro. RIP Around the Horn, dude. What a great show, dude. Now that everything's leaving, dude. Everything's changing. My whole life is changing.
Inspiration for this show.
Dude, it's tough. To answer Adam's question, I don't think so. I think if he would have left because he had what word am I looking for? Disdain with the Lions, Martha Ford, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, something like that, then it'd be like, yeah, this is a really weird club that every decade is adding to it because they hate our organization. That's not good. But this isn't that. This is a Luke Kuechly injury. This is like Luke Kuechly retirement. It is just weird that it kind of falls for the Lions. So we'll put a pin in that. And in 10 years, we'll come back to this question. And if we lost another guy, if Gibbs retired after 7 years or something, then we can be like, yeah, something's going on, guys. Like, I don't know if
We're coming back to this episode, bro. Don't delete.
We'll come back to this. We'll bookmark it. We'll
Flips.
But yeah. So guys, Ragnow's gone. And I don't know about you, but that means our offensive line is going to look a little different and maybe a little concerning. So let's talk about what we want to do on the offensive line. We know Decker's at left. We know Sewell's at right tackle. That ain't changing, which is great. But I think there's a lot of stuff happening in the middle. So I want to hear how you guys plan to have your offensive line for the Detroit Lions. But if you don't mind, I'd like to start the segment out with the question. First one to answer wins air high five. Who was the last center to start for the Detroit Lions before we drafted Frank Ragnow?
Dominic Raiola.
Incorrect. But I love
that's all I got.
I knew that was wrong. That's all.
I knew Adam was a dumbass, but let me think.
Travis Swanson?
That is incorrect. He is on the team right now.
Glasgow. There you go.
Glasgow was the last starting center before we got Ragnow. Now, do I think Glasgow is awesome and he's been waiting 7 years in the making to get this spot? No, I don't think so. I think he was really rough at left guard last year, and moving him to the center position would be very nerve-wracking. But it'd be less nerve-wracking to me than having Tate Ratledge just come in and start as a center right away, which can happen. But for my offensive line, how I want it to go is I want Glasgow moved over at center, And I want Tate Ratledge automatic starting at right guard, where I believe he played 416 of his 420 snaps last year at Georgia or something of that nature. Let him feel comfortable. Not only that, let him sit next to Penei Sewell and not only learn from Sewell, but be a little bit protected because of Sewell. You know what I mean? Like, to have that guy maybe throw an arm or help you out a little bit, that's got to be really nice. So I want him at right guard. I want Glasgow at center. And then at left guard, I don't give a flying monkey who starts there. It can be, I assume it's going to be Mahogany. That's my guess. It's Christian Mahogany. But if Manu or Skipper want to come out of the tackle position to go play left guard, or if Miles Frazier wants to step up and be the guy that we drafted in the 6th round or whatever it was last year, 7th round, or if, like, who's the other guy? I always call him ayahuasca or whatever, Awasaki
or whatever, yeah,
whatever his name is. If he wants to start him, that's great. I want competition for my left guard. So my prediction is Mahogany at left guard, or not my prediction, but my want is Mahogany at left guard, Glasgow in center, Ratledge at right guard, and then Manu, Skipper, Frazier, all being those guys to back up. That's for me personally. Adam, we'll go to you. How would you like to see our offensive line stack up in the middle?
So not to be boring, but I agree with you 100%. Glasgow, if he comes out and is the center and doesn't look the best, you know, a lot of Lions fans will be like, well, we expect this. If Ratledge goes out and is center and doesn't play the best, everyone's going to be like, 2nd round bust. Oh, man. Oh, he's terrible. He was built by Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. And that could really, you know, hurt someone's career if, you know, you don't get the fan love and appreciation early on. Graham, he's dealt with everything, the good, the bad, all of it. So he's a little more experienced. And then at the end of the day, I just think whoever, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Ratledge starting, but I just think it's whoever Jared Goff is most comfortable with. I want Goff to, like, whoever has the best butt for Goff to, you know, get under, give him the little tappy tap, you know, who can snap a good spiral, whatever it be. But
you think we could sign Christine Harper? That's Goff's wife.
that was so funny. I'm like,
that was so funny. It took me 5 seconds to figure out.
I was like, is this guy a free agent? I've never heard it.
Who's Christine Harper? Did he play for the Eagles last year?
Low key though, that could be something. If we get her to bulk up a bit, you know,
just put on a little mask.
Yeah,
dude.
there you go.
Mac from It's Always Sunny. You know what I mean?
But I do think it should be Glasgow. He's been in the league, has some experience, has center snaps. I can't remember who stepped in for Ragnow, like the few games he missed with like 17 injuries instead of, you know, playing through with like his 12 regular injuries. But yeah, I would like to see Glasgow, because if things turn south, we can kind of use him as the scapegoat, so be it, as opposed to, you know, our new 2nd round rookie who everyone's kind of, you know, starting to gain some traction, hype about. And you said it perfectly. Stick Ratledge at right guard next to Penei. You can learn, and then he's also a bit protected, where Penei, if he throws one dude off with one arm, he can go help out Ratledge.
Exactly. Julius, thoughts?
So it sounds good to have our good friend Graham Glasgow being protected at right guard next to Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell throwing his long reaching arms over to get Glasgow's slow butt because he can't catch up to the defensive tackle or the 2nd level middle linebacker. However, I feel like that exposes Penei Sewell too much, takes him out of his element too much. He's less effective in that way. I think it's better if you have a stronger right guard next to him, a la Kevin Zeitler. And in my opinion, I honestly believe that person is Christian Mahogany. Just with his edge he plays with, which his run grade he came with the last few games of the year last year. I think put him next to Sewell, and you open up gigantic holes for Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, at center, like I'm just worried about Glasgow because he did not play that well last year. Honestly, at the end of last season, in my mind, he was washed. I didn't even think he'd come back. I thought he might be a cap casualty. We brought him back, of course. Ragnow's gone. I understand. But in this camp, I honestly believe that it's not going to be a free give to center for him. I think there's going to be a camp battle, intense camp battle between Graham Glasgow and Tate Ratledge for center position. And Tate Ratledge, on paper, on his relative athletic score, the most relative athletic score, the highest relative athletic score ever for a center.
Higher
And
than Ragnow.
he played
Yep.
center in college.
Mhm.
He practiced center in college for emergencies, and he played right guard, like you said, Nick. But guess what? I think in training camp and in preseason, that athleticism is gonna out pop Glasgow. Glasgow isn't going to be able to keep up, and Ratledge is going to win the job, and he's going to be our starting center. And at left guard, somebody you might not even knew that we signed a week ago. His name is Tristan Colson. He started 8 games for the Cardinals last year at guard and center. Played relatively well. Was a pretty good, like a top 15 backup in the NFC. I think he's going to come on, and he might start at left guard just for the experience level over a guy like I think Glasgow is going to be the swing guard next year. I honestly believe that.
I love that, dude. I love that, dude. There's so many options. It is.
I see the camp battle between Ratledge and Glasgow for center, and I see Ratledge coming out on top.
I think it's hilarious that we drafted. It seems like we got like Frank Ragnow 2.0 in Tate Ratledge. The picture we had of him like turkey hunting, like I bet he goes and lives in like St. Clair Shores and does a ton of fishing with Frank Ragnow if Frank stays in Michigan. You know what I mean? Like it seems like they're going to be best friends, even if Ragnow's not on our team anymore. It's just crazy how the NFL repeats itself. And I think we just found another, hopefully more than 7-year starter for us in Tate Ratledge. So I love that. I love what we are talking about here when it comes to that. But let's get to something I didn't really love. This was interesting. Actually, I didn't even really hear about it. It wasn't until I saw Adam's tweet that I started to dive into this. Amon-Ra St. Brown comes out and states, I had surgery on my knee after the season just to clean up some stuff. So I've been rehabbing that. He has not been in OTAs, but he continues saying, I should be good for training camp. I should be good to go for training camp. So it's good, right? It doesn't seem like there's any concerns or anything. He's doing well. We've seen him on his podcast with his brother, interviewing a lot of the rookies and having fun. We haven't seen him running routes or anything, and that's because obviously he is rehabbing his knee. It was just to clean up some stuff. Does this draw any concern from either of you guys?
I don't think so. How it's been talked, it seems like it's nothing crazy. I feel like it hopefully it was just like a cleanup procedure, something like that. But I'm 100% sure this is how the conversation went when reporters figured out Amon-Ra had knee surgery. It was like, so Amon-Ra, what have you done since, the Lions season ended? And he's like, I went to Germany. I learned how to water ski. I got knee surgery. We had a big family reunion. They're like, wait, what was that? He's like, I learned how to water ski? No. After. He's like, we had a big family reunion. They're like, no, before that. And he's like, knee surgery? And it was just something so casual where reporters, it seemed like made a bigger deal about it because it kind of came out of blue, and it was very shocking that this wasn't reported or someone didn't figure this out, a while ago. And it was interesting to say the least. But Amon-Ra expected to be good to go for training camp, which is good. It's nothing to do with, he'll miss all of camp, a couple preseason games. So hopefully was just something minor and all is good, I guess.
Yeah. Julius, any concerns?
Well, yeah, I mean, me and my son, we're headed to his camp here in about a week. I'm going to have to test his knee out for you guys, for all of Lion Nation. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say line up, Amon. Let's go. Line up. I'm gonna run a deep post on him. If he can't check me, if I catch it, something's wrong. I'm coming back to report. Straight panic. And we need to go ahead and get JMO extension because evidently he's balling out in OTAs. But no. Seriously. I mean, how many times have we saw Amon-Ra St. Brown take a weird hit, man? And he's not the biggest dude. He's not the fastest dude. We be seeing him. Ooh, that looked like it hurt. Oh, he got it kind of slow. Oh, he's limping, but he's right back out there. He's an Iron Man. He's tough as nails. It's gonna catch up on you eventually. I hope this not the case, not the start of something. But it's a little worrying for me. I'm not gonna lie.
It's kind of how it's like last year we found out through the show Wide Receivers that he had torn his pectoral muscle in like week 5 and played the rest of the season with it.
That's right.
This year we find out months later that he had cleanup surgery on his knee. It's like, no, this isn't concerning. It's cleanup surgery. Like, we're fine. He's fine. He's going to be good. We'll be all right. But the thing is, it's like, football is a grueling sport. These are gladiators out there. These are full on fucking gladiators. We have seen people die on the field and come back to life. Like, there is going to be a time, like, injuries catch up to people, right? There are plenty of experiences that has happened. Now there's people like Golden Tate, who is smaller but just built bigger and can take a lot of hits and can play a long time. So, and I think that's kind of how I put St. Brown. So I'm not nervous about this surgery or anything, but as it starts to snowball, these injuries, blah, 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 and just playing the sport and being a little guy, it's just, I'm not concerned again about this injury or this surgery, but I'm just concerned for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I just want everyone healthy at all times for all life, at least on the line while you're on the Lions roster. And so we'll keep it moving with another injury update. Dan Campbell says Malcolm Rodriguez, who tore his ACL in Thanksgiving last year, conservatively, quote Dan Campbell, conservatively, question mark, November. Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. Probably November, somewhere in there. I'm going to lead this one off. Again, I am not concerned about this. I don't think Rodriguez makes or breaks our defense. We went heavy on like signing linebackers. We got Grant Stewart. We got like we've done our best to kind of like be ready and prepared for this because we knew it was going to happen. We know an ACL is about a 12-month recovery. He tore it in Thanksgiving. There was no reason. The same thing with McNeil. There's no idea that they're going to like be here to start. Honestly, am I crazy to say this, guys? I kind of like that Rodriguez and McNeil might not be back until the second half of the season. Even if we are 3-5 getting these guys back, 4-6 getting these guys back, I'm not like, I mean, probably at the moment I'll be freaking out because if we're 4-6, but like now I would just be like, it's okay because we are getting these huge additions. And can we save ourselves from that freaking injury bug that we got last year? And in fact, sit every starter for the first 7 months or first 7 games, and let them all play in the second half or something like that. So I'm not concerned about Rodriguez missing that time. It stinks to hear. I love Rodrigo. I have a Rodrigo jersey. He is a fan favorite. Father to be, or maybe already a father, something of that nature, newly married. Like, he's living a great life, dude. But I want to see him on the field. I'm not too worried about it. How about you, Julius?
I also want to see him on the field, specifically with this whole contract situation with Anzalone. It's get kind of thin. Derek Barnes coming off an injury. Honestly, and then, we got Jack Campbell, up and comer, but just start to get a little thin there. That's just a position in front 7. You worry about the interior defensive line. You worry about the interior of the linebackers. And, you start to think, you look at the depth chart, what I'm saying? All it takes is one injury and we in the hole, just like last year, and then linebacker is just a huge weakness. We got tight ends and running backs killing our ass in the passing game. I'm a little worried. Rodrigo, I haven't saw him in a while, so I barely think about the guy. I honestly just want to see Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes carry the linebacker room for the whole season.
Yeah, I don't mind
Would be
that.
cool. Would be cool.
Adam, before I let you jump in to talk about Rodriguez real quick, I wanted to pull this up and share. Can you guys see?
Yep.
Yes.
So we're looking at our depth chart. Let's say Anzalone holds out. I don't think it will. Malcolm Rodriguez, not till November. Derek Barnes coming back from injury. So now you're looking at Jack Campbell, Grant Stewart, Trevor Nowaski, who filled in great, Anthony Pittman, who filled in great, Ezekiel Turner, who filled in great. Like all these guys filled in great. But if those are your starters, we're right back to where we were against Washington when we let up 48 points. Like Julius, you're making me a little bit more concerned than I was before when I started this segment. Adam, talk to us, brother.
One of my buddies made a comment when this news broke, and it kind of got me thinking where getting some of these guys back later in the season, maybe we will start our stride in the second half as opposed to like week 1.
And I think our schedule goes with that.
You're right, it does. Yeah, it does get a little easier towards the end, which is good. But that was something I was like thinking about where the last couple Lions seasons we raced out. Last year we beat the Chiefs week 1 last year.
No, 2 years ago. Last year was the Rams at overtime.
That's right. Okay. Yes, that's right. All right. Yeah. So last 2 years, we've kind of come out of the gates firing, and it just seemed like, we kind of got burnt out one way or another by the time playoffs came or, our final playoff game. I know we made that championship, and that's, pretty dang good. But Rodriguez, it sucks because he's a good depth piece. And if we start to lose starters, then this is where it will really start to hurt us. Like if Jack Campbell were to go down, knock on wood, then the Rodrigo news would sting twice as much. Right now, I don't think it stings as much. And I'm hoping that we can kind of be either, 500, maybe 1-2 games above 500 when Aleem and Rodrigo come back, and we can just take off from there where the Lions are getting, extra players along with some of these rotational guys who have been starting who can go back to being rotational guys. So it is a little concerning, but as long as we could keep the rest of our team healthy, it should be all right.
I agree with everyone. I think it should be all right. It is quite concerning now that I realize our depth. You're right, Adam. If Jack Campbell goes down, then we'll be looking rough. Because let's talk about this next thing. Let's keep it with our linebackers. Alex Anzalone. I thought for some reason, we had extended him like 2 years ago, but I guess we didn't. We did. But I guess we're right back to where we were because Anzalone is under contract for $6 million in 2025, though none of that salary is guaranteed, including his $100,000 roster bonus. Anzalone's total compensation is outside the top 25 linebackers in the NFL for 2025. He then, a couple days ago, posted this tweet. People call it cryptic tweet. It's just him working out with no Lions gear on, and the comment says, "In life, you have options. Which will you choose?" A lot of people saw that as like, that guy's holding out. Like this is all about the Detroit Lions. A lot of people said the same thing when they realized Jameson Williams wasn't even following the Lions. They were like, my God, he isn't even following the Lions. Like he's probably going to be traded right before the draft. And I tend to think of these cryptic tweets as Bush League, as clickbait material for shitty websites. And now here we are talking about it. But we're talking about Alex Anzalone because I'm curious if you guys think he does hold out. To me personally, I do not think so. I also don't think we extend him before the season. I think we have that kind of contract holding over his head all season, and then we figure out what's going on next year. I think Jack Campbell was brought in to replace him. I do not think we're going to continue with the Anzalone train after this year. I don't know how I feel about all that. As long as Anzalone plays well, we should be good. But my question to you, we'll start with Julius. Do you think that he holds out, or is he there and no extension? Or do you think we extend him? Or like, what do you think happens?
I think we extend him. Just because going off our last topic, Rodrigo, who knows when he'll be back? Who knows if he'll be back in the same shape? Derek Barnes is injury prone. We have nobody else but Jack Campbell. You do not want Ezekiel Turner covering running backs in this defense. We saw this last year. I will go on Twitter and I promise, don't do it. Please don't do it. We have to pay Anzalone. That's what it is. Now, if Rodrigo was healthy, if Barnes was, not coming off that gruesome ACL tear, right? That's what he did. Then we could consider, okay, let him walk. Let Anzalone, he's getting older. He might get washed up. Let him walk. But with all the uncertainty at the position, we got to extend him.
Yeah.
And I think that message on Instagram was him telling the Lions, you got a decision to make. You want to go into this season without me or not, or what? And so I think the Lions going to extend. We're going to see an extension in the next couple of weeks before training camp.
Adam, do you think that tweet was geared towards the Lions, and do you think we extend them? Or
I don't. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that tweet.
I don't think it was towards the Lions.
Yeah.
I think it was more of just a motivational, because he tweets like motivational shit sometimes, and it's like not shit, but like motivational messages. And
With no guaranteed money though. That's the key.
I know, no guaranteed.
I will say I don't think he holds out based off of just recent holdout history. It seems like you hold out, you lose money at the end of the day. And if you're a running back, if you're a linebacker, Hassan Reddick, he was more of an edge rusher, but similar, linebacker, edge rusher type thing, holds out and just essentially career shot down the drain. He's walking off on the 49ers field because he got traded there to a team he didn't really even want to play for, maybe. But I don't think he holds out. And I'm kind of with Nick. I don't think we resign him. He'll be 31 years old in September. So right before this, the season starts week 1. 31's getting up there. And he hasn't been super injury prone, but this is a guy that has taken a lot of hits. We know Anzalone. If you see the ball, Anzalone 34 is going to be in that tackle. So this could be a guy that's just built up a lot of hits, and the Lions are like, hey, we can't. But Ragnow retiring gives us $9.2 extra million, which was interesting. So maybe
why he waited till June 1st, for anyone who doesn't realize why Frank Ragnow waited till June 1st to retire. Had he done that after season, we would not have got that money. But because he waited till after June 1st, we received that $9.2 billion. Go on, Adam.
Just another testament of Frank being just a good guy. One last, hurrah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Justin. He's old, but he's still a playmaker, and I do think there's a chance he gets re-signed if he goes out and just balls out this season. You just gotta, But if he just kind of stays the course and is just a solid, complimentary good linebacker, I think maybe we go draft and look somewhere else. But I don't think he holds out. I think he'll be there week 1.
I also don't think it holds out. And I think all this will be a moot conversation because Brad Holmes loves his players and he loves his anchors and his captains. And that's what Anzalone is. And he was like one of the first free agent signings from Brad Holmes and brought over to help us out. And so I also think we will end up extending them. Let's talk. We got a couple more topics. OTAs and a trade proposal we wanted to go over. First, OTAs, a couple things that stood out here from reading. Obviously, we are not there, so we do not see this. We have to go off of articles from people that are there. A few things that I took away that I wanted to talk about. One, Enes Rakestra. In the secondary, Campbell highlighted second-year cornerback Enes Rakestra as someone who has taken significant steps this spring, and after spending time at nickel as a rookie, is getting the opportunity to compete for playing time on the outside in 2025. On the defensive side still, Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport got plenty of reps at defensive end spots, while linebacker Jack Campbell is looking more comfortable than ever at the Mike position. And lastly, on offense, per Dan Campbell, A lot of focal points were wide receiver Jamison Williams and running back Jahmyr Gibbs and tight end Sam Laporta, among others, and then getting the offense in. I thought we did that. I thought we really honed in on their versatility and all things that they can do. So, Adam, we'll start with you. Which of those kind of stick out to you?
The J-Mo and Gibbs. I think those be two guys like that even Dan Campbell was talking about, that they look good. We already know Gibbs is a superstar. We know J-Mo has the superstar talent and was like slowly emerging there. I think J-Mo takes off this year. And I think him and Gibbs have – I asked this question the other day, and I must have asked it at a terrible time because I don't think anyone even responded to it. Just got a bunch of likes. And I was like, come on, people, listen to questions. Stop liking it, And – it was how many total 50-yard receiving or rushing touchdowns will J-Mo and Gibbs have? And I will say it will be close to, I think it'll be around like the 8 mark.
Combined?
Yes, yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of big plays if it's just Gibbs right up the middle, hitting the hole. J-Mo on, a jet sweep, or J-Mo just, going deep and toasting the defender. We've seen him. He actually was Rakestraw, who he burned. But at the end of the day, J-Mo, he's going to torch any cornerback if he gets that first step. So no shade to Rakestraw, but J-Mo, I'm excited for it. I think him in number 1 is going to make him play better. I can't really explain it, but he is one of those dudes that's like dress well, play well, and his swag and aura and confidence and all that is like J-Mo. And if he has all that, it boosts him up a little bit. So even with Gibbs too, switching to 0, he said this, I don't know if it was comments or something, but he said he hated the number 26. Absolutely hated it. So for him to be able to get his number, I think, in a weird way, it might make him play better. Just like that confidence of like Gibbs is going to be the best player to wear the number 0. J-Mo is going to be competing with Jamar Chase to be the best player wearing number 1. So I think both of those guys with their speed will make for a very, very exciting season, regardless if we have all the trick plays or not.
I love that. Julius, he wanted to talk offense. There's some defensive topics we were talking about. Hutchinson, Davenport, and Campbell all sticking out. What's your thoughts on that? How about you tell us unmuted?
I was actually double muted that time. I was muted on StreamYard and I was muted on my mic. So I was screwed.
It's like 1 a.m. there. We give you a break. That's all right, buddy.
I appreciate the grace, bro. However, defensively, it's all great developments. Davenport, I can't even say anything about him because he only played 2 games last year?
2 or 3.
I just worry about injuries now. See, when you have that kind of injury season last year, I just want to see it. I don't even want to predict it because I feel like if I start predicting it, you're going to get hurt in the first game. So it's great to see, though. It is great to see, because our defense played so horrible at the end of the last season. And the reason we got bounced out of the first game of the playoffs. But shout out to Davenport. Hutch, I fully expect, like I said, break the sack record next year. You're going to take off where he left. We already know where he's coming from, the greatest public university known to man. And that dog in him when he resurrected that university, but he brought it over to Detroit, and he's going to continue that. I just don't want to see injuries. I'm so scared about injuries, guys. I don't want to harp about it. Don't even ask me.
I love it. See, me, I actually think Davenport is going to be huge this year. We'll talk a little bit more throughout the next few weeks.
Over under show
is exactly where I was just going to say. That's where I think we're going to talk about. But I think Davenport. I think after you be injured for so long, so many seasons, you get just like a good season where you just are healthy all year. And I think that's going to be a Davenport this year. I want to talk about Ennis Rakestraw. Again, Campbell called out him really taking some steps forward. I got to see this guy get drafted live in Detroit. And ever since then, he's been my favorite player. And I've been trying to manifest his success in the NFL. And last year just didn't work with the injuries. And it's not even just that. I truly, like last year, right after the draft, I believe you can find our show. I think I said Ennis Rakestraw will be better than Terrion Arnold. That's how much I liked him.
I believe you did. I believe you did.
And I'm not going to double down on that right now, but when it does happen, you guys will know who to talk to. I'm not going to double down on that. I'm just going to say that I still feel like Rakestraw was the best draft pick from our class last year. I don't. It's hard to like.
Does he show that early?
The film that I saw from college, he absolutely showed that.
I'm saying does he show that early this season?
I don't think so, because I think you're going to find him on the bench. I don't think he wins a spot, and I think he's a depth guy to back up. But the one thing that Julius doesn't want to talk about is going to happen, and when that happens, you're going to need replacements. You're going to need depth. So let's have that's when I think. Well, I think we're going to learn about Rakestraw. Not we, but he'll become more of a Michigan household name in the playoffs. That's when he's going to make impressive plays down the stretch when we need him, when
like
there's so that's kind of what I'm banking on. I would not have said this. I wouldn't have even kind of gone back to the Ennis Rakestraw had this not been the first report out of OTAs, like the first few guys out of OTAs to get called out for doing well. Ennis Rakestraw's name is on that list. I want our secondary to be amazing. I think our secondary can be amazing, and I think having him as a depth piece is going to be amazing. But we'll move on. Those were our OTA news and notes. We'll finish this show on one last thing. We saw Ben Solik from The Athletic propose a trade. The Cincinnati Bengals get 2026 second-round pick and 2027 fourth-round pick that can become a third-rounder with performance conditions from the Lions. The Lions get a 2026 fifth-round draft pick and I believe last year's sack leader, Trey Hendrickson. We'd also have to pay him a lot of money. We've talked about Trey Hendrickson trades all year, all offseason. So let's just keep going. Julius, would you be all right with sending a next year second round pick and a following year third or fourth to get Hendrickson and a fifth round pick next year?
So before I answer this, I'm going to tell everyone, all our listeners, our 2026 draft picks we currently have. We currently have round 1, round 2, don't have round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, and 2 round 7s.
Okay.
So we would be giving up the 2 and the 4 in that trade, you said?
Just the 2 from next year, 4 of the next following year.
2 next year. So we be 1. So we wouldn't have a second or third, a day 2 pick next year unless we trade it up.
However, I do believe we get a third round pick next year because Aaron Glenn.
I believe you're correct.
No, we got one this year.
And you get one
next year. You are correct. You are correct, Adam. Yeah,
right.
You are correct. And we picked Isaac Tesla with that choice.
And there's a chance that we get another compensation pick if Frank Ragnow leaves and we don't replace, which he did leave, and we don't replace him. Just saying, couple compensation picks could come our way.
Well, it's just say we with that. But we lose number 2 next year.
Yep.
Pull the trigger, Brad. Pull the trigger. Bring Trey Hendrickson to the Motor City and have him and Aiden Hutchinson. It don't even matter who else on defense. Just them 2. Just causing hell all game.
I'm all in. Adam, thoughts?
I kind of agree too. Especially if we use this Frank Ragnow money into just signing Trey Hendrickson. I think he would make a big difference. It would be a good little like flip-flop trade-off if we, got Hendrickson, lost Frank. But I'm more of a I'm more in a trust like Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell mode where it's like they haven't done it yet, so I don't think we need it, but it would be awesome. I definitely am ready for it. And then also a little random tidbit. In 2027, we have an extra 4th rounder, which I just figured this out the other day, and it is from the DeAndre Swift trade.
Wow.
Dang, that was some high-class trade in there. We'll take your pick.
Philadelphia.
I think we got like a 3rd and a 4th, but the 3rd was like that year, and then the 4th was in like 3 years from that or something crazy.
The Philadelphia Eagles. Swindlers. Hey, by the way, if we get Trey Hendrickson, we can have Marcus Davenport swinging off the bench. He won't get hurt.
Saved his life, right? Exactly.
Career
You all
year.
know me. I hate trades. I do not trade in NFL. I do not trade in fantasy football. I hate them. I'm never in agreement with them. And it stays the way this year. I don't want Trey Henderson. I don't want to trade for him. I don't want to spend my money on him. I want to spend my money on the players that Brad Holmes is drafting. Sorry for everyone who hates that. I would love Trey Hendrickson for free, but if he's going to cost me a boatload of money, I don't need him. Other than that, Adam, take us home. That was a fun one.
Yeah, as always, you can check us out at Honolulu Blues _ on X, the Everything app, where a lot of crazy stuff on X the last couple of days. Lions related.
Real quick, did you guys see my tweet with the bear?
Oh yes, that was great. That was awesome.
That's one of my favorite tweets I've ever sent out. Julius, you know what I'm talking about?
Refresh my memory.
It's like the tweet is just like, I'm so excited for the Lions to play on Sunday. And then right under it says, me watching the Lions on Sunday. And it's just a 10-second clip. I don't know if you've ever seen the show The Bear on Hulu. But
yeah. I saw the tweet.
Yeah, he's like having a mental breakdown. And I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it is watching.
Don't you miss those mental breakdowns a little bit? Don't you?
Yeah, sometimes I do, brother. I got one, but not right now because the last time I watched the Lions, I had a mental breakdown. So it's
true.
The Red Wings are giving us those mental breakdowns.
That's true too.
Check us out individually at the Fifth Top for Julius. Nick, favorite NFL is.
Oh, that is mine. Good job.
That was so weird. It's been so long since I've done that. I'm like, it was like muscle memory, but I didn't trust the muscle. Like my mouth was moving and my brain was like, I think that's it. And of course, check myself out at Everyday FFB. As always, go.